right? So there's an oddity here that there's the construction period plus the amortization of the loan. So if I picked a 30-year fixed mortgage, I got a 369 or a 372 amortization that I need to request from my price quote. Similarly, on a 15-year, if it was 9 months, it's 189. If it's 12 months, it's 192 months. So a lot of times when you go into the price engines, there's two reasons you're not seeing a price. One, you have not become eligible for Flagstar construction training, which is not my class. It's the one online at the beginning of this session I was showing you how to access. But again, the complications, we're not doing 6 months, we're not doing longer than 12 months. 6 months isn't realistic in the supply chain of life today, so we don't allow those. Above 12 months is a TRID problem or compliance problem. So 372 is going to be the max amortization you would put in, and you'll come up with product registrations. The way the pricing works, I can't sell this loan until I'm a good bit down the road and the house has a C of O. So I'm stuck taking market risk. And in doing so, you know, a market like how it's jumped as of late, I've got to have a pretty good cushion on the market rates. So if you look at a rate for a 9-month loan, I'm essentially bumping your what you would get in pricing on a normal run-of-the-mill deal by 5/8 in rate. If it's a 12-month loan, we're going to bump it by 0.75 in rate. Okay. Interest rate bumps are there, but there's also a small discount hit of a half if it's 3/4 of a, if it's the 9 months. If it's 12 months, it's a, it's the 12 months is a half plus the 3/4. Sorry. And the 9 months is 5/8 plus 3/8. There's a small difference in that rate, but the rush and the worry about being finished in 9 months is tough with, again, the supply chain problems that you have. So I would like you to pick the 12-month term. The jumbo similarly has 9 or 12-month options. But here's the thing: we've reduced the project size because of these 12-month terms. The maximum loan amounts actually on these jumbos are pretty low. Although it goes to 85, it's $1 million maximum loan amount. $1.5 million maximum loan amount at 80 LTV, and 75 is $2 million. If you're lucky enough to talk about jumbos, we need to really sit down and work through those details and what that means to you. But I want to get, you know, your full feet wet on the full topic, and then we can go back for questions, all right? So again, picking the right term and amortization is going to lead you to get to the right pricing on these products. And remember that 372 or 369 amortization that you're putting together is going to impact your disclosure. So when your initial loan estimate comes out, and I want to talk about loan estimates, you don't have to worry really about loan estimates in this realm. I'm going to sweep it over. There is no do-it-yourself allowed on this particular product. So as soon as you register the loan, my compliance department is going to lock down on the file and grab it, and human intervention start working on the LE to generate the correct quote. It may, because it doesn't know the details, take some worst case scenarios, like it requires a survey, but you may not need a survey. So there'll be a couple of nuances, but when you get the loan estimate out from us, that again, you lenders, you gotta kind of slow down and just realize that I'm the lender in this case. You register the loan, and we're going to sweep it right in. Within 18 hours, there'll be an LE in your borrower's email box. All right. And it will have a first year of interest only, so that when they start asking you, what's this 31 years on here, you can somewhat explain that that is including that interest only period while they built the home. When you're thinking about the fees on a loan, so we've talked about the interest rate. We have, if it was a 9-month loan, it was 5/8 bump. We'll come back to the conforming loan size. It was right here, 5/8 rate bump for a 9-month, for a 369 or a 189. For a 12-month, which you call a 372 or 192 amortization, it was 3/4 in rate, right? So if you get that rule of thumb in your mind, where are normal rates, where construction, they're about 3/4 higher in rate with also a discount fee. Plus there's these costs that we had talked about right here, the draw fees. So what happens on a loan? We close on a loan, and it's usually either dirt or just what the borrower has started with the builder. If it was going to be a large-scale project, they might want to start it. If they've started, I am going to ask them to give me full title protection through that point, that there are no liens. Okay, so they're just doing a full endorsement on the title. The title company is probably going to look for waivers or receipts for all draw activity that's gone, or all building activity that's gone on so far. That is normal and traditional language to a builder to talk about justifying where he spent money on his projects. He's keeping track of that constantly, getting waivers from the individual workers that they don't have liens, they've been paid, because he doesn't want encumbersome and people making claims against the property he's working on. So he's keeping track of it. That's normal suit for them. So a lot of builders, they manage them, whether we're going to break it down by dollar sizes, first of all. That it gets more and more expensive, the more draws you want, and the more dollar amounts you need for your project. So a construction draw of under 200,000, if the project is under 200,000, there's $1,400 for 3 draws. They could add, if the builder goes 3 draws isn't enough, I always do 5 draws to break up my project. We would need to charge a borrower $265 more for each additional draw he wants. Right? Final inspections are, obviously when I appraised the home, it was still not built. So when it's done, we go in for a final inspection. That's going to be charged on the LE that, again, I'm generating. Don't sweat the small stuff on the fees, because I'm going to do them on these. The main thing is for you to be able to explain back when the borrower got the LE what it all means. Okay. Final inspection is the $175. Final title, we need an updated endorsement at the completion of title. That's going to be about $175. Endorsements along the way, if they require, your individual title company would give you kind of a breakdown of what that would be. Okay. Surveys, we'll talk about that more, but let's go through. Obviously, as we go higher, up to the jumbo loan limit, it's $1,750, but only includes 5 draws. You could add more with $256 draw. The larger you get, the more expensive. So if you're in the multi-million-dollar range, you're talking 50 very large fees. Not so bad. So we had 3/4 bump in rate, $2,700 worst case for 7 draws on a big loan. Okay. Give you a rough range of guesstimating in conversation with your consumers. When you are estimating with your consumer, they're often going to, if they're talking about having escrows on the account, we're going to collect it. And either you go to the tax assessor's office and get a millage rate, and then I'll use that millage rate against the value of the project. Or we use 1.5 times if nobody's bothered to document it. Okay, 1.25 in California. All loans are underwritten by me, whether you're a lender and you have your own underwriters or not. So it's a brokered transaction. Conforming, one-time close, Fannie Mae guides. You use the desktop underwriter, of course. Remember to call it a construction to perm or construction, and then add the funny amortizations, the extra 12 months. Execute borrower acknowledgement of receipt of construction loan guide required at submission. So I'll show you where this book, there's a booklet, 27 pages, that tells them everything about construction. And at the end, the borrower signs it to say he has at least a reasonable idea what to expect in this process, to make sure it's been explained to him. That's going to be required by our underwriter. Mortgage insurance would be required if it exceeds 80 LTV. And let's see, minimum, you need 12 months to keep the PMI for 12 months after you build a construction loan. So what's going to happen, this document here and these project and contractor approvals are really the only 2 things that Flagstar looks for, right, is project approval, contract approval. My underwriter will underwrite a deal just like any other deal. It's still credit qualifying, income qualifying. You're proving the assets. Every dollar that's been spent on the project, you treat like earnest money deposit, document it. We're going to do the LE again. And remember that unless you borrow 10% in reserves on a project, we're going to require that at least you throw into the cost of building a 5% contingency for overruns and misinterpretations by the builder, whatever it may be, because you can't go back and reclose a loan and get more money. We're going to make them approve the loan for 5% more than they need unless they have that 10% reserve. Okay? Where am I going to get all these, the project approval and the builder approval and that guide? Well, under our seller's guide, we've got product information coming into Flagstar product. You go to construction and renovation product, and you've got the list. Under the one-time close, you'll have all the related forms right there, the construction renovation guide. Construction period acknowledgement is just knowing the 12 months or the 9 months. Once they've selected that, they're asked to sign that. Contract questionnaire is the builder approval. Draw funding forms are what they use to process the loan, and there's fax numbers on these forms for them to request their money through the draw process. This is the standard budget project review. So that item, and this item are required by the underwriter.